I have a ton of leftovers in here at the moment, and I'm going to be bringing you guys through the next couple days to show you guys how I use them up. It's the end of the month. I have like 4 or 5 days before I go once a month grocery shopping, so things are looking pretty barren, and I just want to show you guys what it typically looks like at the end of the month. I have some things that are already bad. Like I have some leftover spaghetti here that's going to have to go to my chickens. This is some pudding that I made with the kids. This is about a pound of hamburger meat I need to use up. This is a whole chicken. I have pretty much the whole thing left. I am drowning in eggs right now because my chickens are laying like crazy with the warm weather. This is a hard-boiled egg. Some leftover beef gravy in here, not a ton, but a little bit. And these are leftover green beans. I do have some pizza crusts here. That's pretty much all that's in here, and just some wraps, some like spinach and herb wraps. And this is leftover taco meat. So what I'm gonna do to get rid of this taco meat is I'm gonna make like a taco breakfast thing, skillet. So I've got some Mexican cheese here, this taco meat, like I said, a bag of shredded hash browns I brought up from the freezer. I also have some Colby Jack cheese here, so I'm just gonna throw all this together in a skillet with some scrambled eggs. And if people want, they can throw this in a taco shell or something, but this is how I'm gonna use up just this little bit of taco meat here and get that out of my fridge. So I'll show you guys all my meals, how I'm cooking them, just how I'm using up all these different leftovers that I have throughout the next couple of days to prevent food waste, because I get questions all the time on how I just kind of use up leftover things and make them into something new to prevent them from going bad. So this is what this video is going to be. I threw in about half of that 1 pound bag in my skillet with all of that leftover taco meat. I'm just going to kind of let this do its thing, and once it's a little bit more cooked, I'm going to push everything off to the edges and crack a couple eggs in the middle, scramble them in the middle, then mix it all together, and then I'll throw in my cheese. And I think I'm going to top mine with salsa. If you wanted to, you could definitely put in tomatoes and different things that you would normally top tacos with in this. However, some people in my family are pretty picky when it comes to those things, so I'm going to leave it really plain and then let people add in whatever they want at the end. Here is our finished product. I ended up cracking 4 eggs in there and scrambling them up and putting in probably a cup of that Mexican style cheese, and then I topped it with seasoned salt, but you could add in kind of whatever you wanted spice wise. More taco seasoning, whatever, but I'm going to leave this pretty bare, like I said, so people can add in what they want. This is the cheese I added in. It's from Aldi. I absolutely love this stuff. That is going to be breakfast, and I used up some of those eggs that I'm drowning in right now. I think I have about 6 dozen eggs right now. I'm drowning, so my neighbors are about to get some, but use up some of those eggs and that taco meat. So a couple things down, a couple more things to go, but this is going to be our leftover meal part, at least the first leftover meal. Alright, heading into meal 2 is just really simple. We used up those green beans just as a side, made a little bit of rice, and then I took some of that leftover chicken from my whole chicken, put it on top of my rice, and then dumped over some teriyaki sauce from Aldi that I talk about all the time. I love it. It's one of my favorite teriyaki sauces. I also got a sweet and sour sauce from Aldi that was new. I picked that up for my husband. He really enjoys sweet and sour, so I got that for him, and that's kind of how we ate it, and everybody really liked it. It was super simple, but super effective. I have all this chicken left. This is what's left from that whole chicken after our take on like Chinese food, basically. It doesn't seem like a lot, but there's definitely a decent amount in here. I can definitely use this in my casserole that I plan on making tonight, which I'll show you guys more ingredients and stuff, but it's a deconstructed chicken parm that I'm going to do tonight. And then I have these rolls that I put in the oven that are going to rise, and we'll have those with our deconstructed chicken parm with some fresh vegetables and stuff as well. So that's how I'm going to use up most of my leftovers. I do have a little bit of green beans left, so I'll offer these to anybody who wants them tonight. And then clearing out leftovers, always adding leftovers to the fridge. I've got some rice here, but this is totally fine. I'll throw this in another casserole, or my kids will just eat. My kids love plain rice for lunch with veggies on top, so we'll fly through this rice, or I'll do something with it. Rice is so easy to throw in anything, so there we go. We got these rolling, and then we are making headway on our eggs as well. I gave 18 eggs to my father-in-law last night, so I have about somewhere between 3 and 3.5 dozen. I have 2 dozen here and then about a dozen sitting out on my counter. The only leftovers we have left is this little bit of gravy. Don't know if I'm going to use this, to be honest. My chickens might just get this gravy, which is totally fine. But we're pretty much cleared out on all of our leftovers after 3 meals, which is pretty good. But of course, we're going to be adding that rice in here. So always an ebb and flow. We're always taking out leftovers, putting in leftovers. It's just the name of the game. But this chicken will be gone tonight. So I got 3 meals out of this whole chicken for my family of 5, which is pretty typical for me. It just depends on what I'm cooking, basically, and how much chicken I need for each meal. The first meal I didn't show you guys with this chicken that I made. I just roasted the whole chicken in the oven, and we ate it with homemade mashed potatoes and that gravy that's still in the fridge and the green beans. So I didn't show that meal, but that was the first meal. And then the chicken and rice, and now we're gonna do the chicken parm. So that's pretty typical for me with a whole chicken. I usually get about 3 meals out of it, sometimes 4, but usually never more than 4. I'm just gonna dump these green beans right in my rice. And now we'll put this in the fridge. I was looking for a recipe to use up that whole chicken in my fridge. I was scrolling Pinterest, as I often do, just for ideas. And I saw this like deconstructed chicken parm, and I was like, yes, I have some Italian breadcrumbs in my freezer that I've been meaning to use up. So I just pulled these out of my freezer. We're gonna put these on top. Some steamed broccoli or steamed California medley for a side. And then I pulled out these egg noodles out of my food storage and some Colby Jack out of my freezer as well. I do have some mozzarella that I'm gonna throw on top, but just to fill in the gaps if needed, I pulled this out of my freezer just in case. So that's what I'm gonna use my whole chicken for. I'm just going to cook the noodles, top it with the breadcrumbs and the cheese, and then put it in the oven and bake it like a casserole. Never made it before, obviously, but we're gonna see how it goes. It looked really well, or it looked really good and seemed super simple to put together. So that's what I'm gonna try tonight, and I'll let you guys know how it goes.
This meal was super easy to make, especially because I already had the chicken pre-cooked. So all I did was boil my noodles, threw them in my lasagna pan, and then you can see me here, I'm adding in a little bit of butter, just because everything is a little bit better with butter. So once that was all melted together, I dumped in a little bit of spaghetti sauce. I was using this Prego Traditional. It just is what I had on my food storage shelf, so using up that bad boy. Once that was all mixed up really well, I just added my shredded chicken that was left over from that whole chicken. I used everything that I had left and I dumped that right on top. I didn't want to mix it in because I didn't really feel like I had enough chicken, to be honest, but I definitely could have. I just put mine on top, so then I had a layer of chicken and then a layer of every bit of mozzarella cheese I had left, and then I just filled in the gaps with my Colby Jack. Dumped on top my Italian breadcrumbs. I put a generous amount on top, and then I decided to top it with a little bit of parm because it's chicken parm. You have to have shaky cheese. And then I threw that in the oven at 350 until the cheese was melted, and then we ate. It was really good. Everybody really liked it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that this helped you give a little bit of inspiration on how to use up your leftovers, and of course I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!